We got my Nick is not green outfit on today. Got the gamer glasses. Very nice, I know. Actually, I guess if I was Nick, I would probably have a shirt that says something like, women don't owe you anything. Now, that would be awesome, okay? That would be a game changer for the channel. Also, the nice thing about the glasses is that it sort of disguises the fact that I'm reading off a script and can't do anything unprepared because I'm retarded.
I have no agenda. If his art sucks, let's and dunk on him. He sucks. Countless comments of people calling me a liar and claiming that I posted about this situation in malice towards Super Mega. Let's just let it play a couple more times. We can keep watching it. But I have not blocked any words. I have not suppressed anything. But I do not have any ulterior motive for my videos made on Super Mega. Really not something to be that proud of. Seems like Matt Watson is a 14-year-old boy, and he looks like it too. So Layden was a former merch designer for Super Mega and was let go without Super Mega actually saying anything to their audience.
Nick truly showed me true friendship.
I don't like Layden. He was a reputable source. I came to find out that Layden was not a reputable source at all. My TikTok drama audience does not overlap with a dying Let's Play channel. Justin and Kelly have both taken Super Mega out of their bios. To know that they were willing to immediately disconnect and separate themselves from Super Mega, it says a lot. But I do not have any ulterior motive for my videos made on Super Mega. And if you don't remember Matt and Ryan, you might remember them from the first Creator Clash where they both had the beaten out of them. I was still a third party who made this video summarizing Lex's story. This isn't like an online normal thing where I look at all the facts. Of course, I'm gonna take the side of a personal friend of mine. I have no agenda. I have no agenda. I have no agenda. I'll be back on Monday.
The Super Mega situation seems to have been a big wake-up call for a lot of people. A wake-up to the fact that Nick is not green is an unreliable narrator with basically no integrity, which is something that, you know, is pretty important to have when you're a commentary channel. Since my initial video dropped, a lot of other channels like Jimmy Robbins, Sensitive Society, and a Cheeto have gone more in depth on specific situations in the past, like with Gus Johnson, when Nick misrepresented facts, reported rumors as fact, and muddied the waters of serious situations. I'm not going to get into the Gus Johnson thing, at least in today's video, because there's already a lot to go over, and I've neglected to do a single update on the Super Mega stuff since my initial video on the main channel dropped. I've been silent, okay? I've been real hood-like, I've been real G-like, I've been macking. Now we're gonna go over it all, finally. All of Nick's responses, at least. I know Lex is supposed to be making some kind of response at some point, so might do an update on that when it comes out. So Super Mega is a YouTube gaming channel with almost 1 million subscribers, headed by Matt Watson and Ryan McGee. A few months ago, Lex Updog, a OnlyFans star, Twitter artist, and a former friend of Matt and Ryan, accused their channel artist, Dawn, of sexual assault. She also claimed that Matt and Ryan had covered this up to save their magnum opus, which I guess is a phrase she claimed that they used a lot, and that they had also contributed to her being homeless, among a whole list of other things. While Dawn was undoubtedly the person accused of the worst crime, because Super Mega are more famous, they're the real public figures, truly, as well as the homelessness story, focus really shifted to them. Lex also accused them of cheating on their girlfriends and stuff like that, and spread a lot of unsubstantiated rumors about them to make them look like worse people. One specific thing they brought up is Daniel Kyer. Daniel Kyer was a friend of Matt and Ryan, who they knew a long time ago, and unfortunately he passed away of suicide. And basically she brought this up and said that they mocked his death and tried to make like a big point out of how they don't actually care about the issues that they claim to care about, with that being one, exemplary sort of situation to prove that. Now Lex is dating Ethan is Online, or Peethan, a commentary creator who is very similar to Nick. That's where I got this whole bit about the women don't owe you anything shirt. He wore one of those, which is swagness
to the extreme.
That's fire, okay? Ethan, you rock, bro.
I love you, bro.
I love you, bro. That was fire. And part of why Ethan's channel and Nick's channels are so similar is because they're actually best friends, or maybe they were best friends. More on that a little later, perhaps. Unconfirmed, unsubstantiated. Because Nick was friends with Ethan and Lex, he released a 40-minute video with the goal, in his words, to signal boost the story from an assault survivor. A decent amount of that video was also Nick directing personal attacks towards Super Mega and reading off a Reddit post that compiled claims made by Ethan, Lex, Morgpie, Rav, Leighton Stollard, and others. He read this post uncritically. It was like a big Reddit post that's like, here here's the drama with Super Mega. Didn't really have a lot of hyperlinks in it. It was just like listing off grievances people had. And Nick read this all as fact and regurgitated it without any proper digestion. He just was like, okay, this is what people are saying. This is true. One point he even brought up was like they made a joke with the N-word, which is like, listen, first of all, I personally would never ever do that, okay? That's horrible. That's disgusting. I would never use such disgusting language. But regardless of that, it just didn't need to be in this video. And if it was there, it should have been reported more critically rather than just being like, all of this is true. There's no way that any of it could be untrue. Cringe moment there from Nick, okay? Major cringe.
And my favorite post right here says, apologist gets what he deserves. And it shows Matt getting the absolute beaten out of him. Let's just let it play a couple more times. We can keep watching it. I don't think anyone minds letting this loop on repeat. We could just let this go. If you want me to do this for the rest of the video, I could. I know the boys messed up, but please understand, Super Mega's Matt's magnum opus.
This was followed by a 50-minute response by Matt Watson, as well as a shorter one by Ryan. In Matt's response, which is sort of the most important one, he refuted many of the claims Lex made, such as that Super Mega covered up the essay. In fact, he claims that Lex wanted to keep it private and did not want him to make a public statement at all. Lex accidentally contradicts herself in her own video by also saying she didn't want it to be public as well at the time, which seems to line up with Matt's story, obviously.
I purposely told both of them, I'm calling you because I don't want this in a text. I don't want this screenshotable. I don't want this to be a big thing. I at least want the choice to have that. And I get the choice if it's not drama. I didn't want that. And I told them that. I made that clear. And I feel like they took advantage of that fully. They took advantage of how much they knew me to that point.
This, along with Lex's homelessness story being completely ludicrous, and all parties involved boosting Leighton, who is a pathological liar, who then got to call Matt and Ryan racist and homophobic, and said that they, like, abused him in the workplace, which, like, none of that was true, completely disproven, led me to think it was all sort of fishy, okay? Got a little smell of the fish. And I like fish, so when I smell it, I get excited. The same applies to Lex claiming that Matt and Ryan would make jokes at the expense of their dead friend, Daniel, which is their right to do, if they want to do it. It felt like this camp of people, this friend group of, like, Nick, Ethan, Lex, and Leighton, aided by people like Morg Pie and Rab, were basically very spiteful people who wanted to use anything they could to make Super Mega look worse, look bad, and really drag down their channel. And whether there was some sort of legitimate grievance at the kernel of this whole thing, right? At the corn kernel was this essay story about Dawn. If that's true or not, we don't know, but let's say it is true. Ultimately, what happened is that the waters were muddy to the point that it was like just a completely situation where a bunch of private stuff that didn't need to be made public was made public, and Matt and Ryan were falsely ascribed a lot of blame for things they didn't really do. I mean, the title of Nick's video initially was Super Mega is full of horrible people. They're not. They're just not horrible people. Anything was fair game to these guys, including exposing private details of Matt's relationship, leaking his girlfriend's name, which wasn't public at the time, as well as Ryan's sex life.
Jim just got like 2 other Super Mega people to stay with him, one of which was a girl that Matt cheated on his girlfriend with. To his ex-girlfriend looked like whenever he would go see her was just him hanging out with Jim. Matt's ex that knew Jim first got betrayed by Jim, and everybody pretty much knew, except for her, what was going on.
So I decided to call Destiny on stream to talk about this because I wanted someone who, from what I've seen, you know, he covers allegations very well. And I also just wanted a fresh set of eyes on all of us to find out if I was crazy. Destiny's audience is very notorious for going through these situations very meticulously, really wanting to get involved in the story and figure out the truth. Destiny himself does these deep dives a lot on his channel, and so I thought it made sense to talk to him, and I'm very thankful I did. Not just because he agreed with me, but because he went even further in getting involved in this story. He blew it up to a level that, you know, I obviously have a big channel, my main channel, and I can get people talking, but Destiny's community is a lot more sort of ardent about him. They're huge fans of him. They're very, very active on his subreddit, and I knew that they would probably have something interesting to say, maybe even make analysis that I couldn't. Now, on stream, Destiny seemed to make the same assessment I did. While these allegations may have been made in good faith as far as the claim against Dawn, and I do say may because I don't know, it ended up being wrapped up in interpersonal bullshit and drama, which is ultimately a result of missteps by Lex, Ethan, really Nick on a big level. Nick. Morg Pie also fucked up. Sorry. She did. Sorry to all the Coomers out there. She did. There's a lot of issues with Leighton, and Rav also was complicit and helped.
This is just a hit piece. Why are you bringing up every irrelevant fact you don't know any of the information about? You have no idea. You don't check for any of these people to see if any of these allegations are real. You don't even know what kind of jokes they're saying. Why do you think you even have a right to speak on like how they would joke about a friend? Like you Zoomer Why would you even enter an opinion here?
I ended up taking all that information I had here, and I got to work with the Turkey team. We got all of the receipts, screenshots, we built a timeline, and we made what I think was a pretty comprehensive timeline of the whole story from front to back. It ended up being over 2 hours long, and as we were nearing the end of production, Ryan actually put out a statement talking about Daniel's passing, and basically asking that Lex, Nick, and others apologize for talking about Daniel Kier. In reference to Lex specifically, he says, "She never apologizes for unnecessarily bringing Daniel into the conversation. Ethan has gone quiet on talking about the situation since our responses, while Leighton has gone quiet altogether. Nick was and still is the only one to publicly address things after the release of our videos." This statement came out at the right time for my video because it sort of showed that Nick had no interest in really responding or apologizing at the time, at least, for the whole Daniel thing. He didn't really feel bad. He didn't want to retract the personal attacks made. To be clear, I think personal attacks and ad hominems are like really funny. It's like actually cool. It's based, okay? The problem is that Nick reported a very serious sexual assault story in tandem with a bunch of random baseless rumors, and instead of just reporting it as allegations, he reported all of it as fact because he was personally involved. And you can't do that. People aren't going to trust you if you do that all the time. Like if my friend personally told me that they were like assaulted by like a YouTuber, I would probably believe them because they're my friend, but I'm probably not going to report that unless I have dead to rights, absolute dead to rights proof that that person is guilty. And even if I have that, I may not report it because I'm that person's friend. I don't want to be sort of like, you know, in the story. I don't want to be in the story when I'm supposed to be the one reporting it from the outside. You know what I'm saying?
So many people being disrespected, so many boundaries being crossed. I'm going to follow the story. I'm going to talk about what Matt and Ryan say in response to this. I'm going to talk about the controversies that come forward. And the reason I want to do that is because they're not shutting it down this time. I think it's time for some people to be held accountable, and I think it's time for people to take some real action on creators who continually take advantage of the people around them and the people they hire.
Nick was emotionally invested because he believed his friend had been seriously hurt, but in his effort to help her, he only made this situation far messier than it ever needed to be. And make no mistake, this is not just his fault. He reported an aggregate of what others like Lex had claimed, who took part in the same exact behavior. Nick is just a commentary channel, and it's his job to not get this wrong. So he's gonna get a little more than she does. He's also like, I guess he's more famous than her. He's got like 700,000 subscribers on 2 channels. Popular dude. He's obviously gonna get a lot of pushback. And as for everyone else responding, so far nobody has responded apart from Nick. Nothing from Ethan, nothing from Lex. Supposedly there's some video coming out, according to Nick, by Lex. I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm gonna take these stupid glasses off. I can't do this anymore. Nick has responded a few times though to this drama, and we get to take a look at those responses so I can tell you how bad they are. Or maybe how good they are, you know? You never know. It could be really good. Maybe. So in the lead up to Nick's first real response video, we did get a few Instagram stories. First, he said, "People will say and do anything to cover up and continue to be friends with this. Just food for thought before you mindlessly and endlessly fight for someone you don't know. Sometimes you wonder why people don't stand up for themselves or stay quiet about victims, and it's because it results in hundreds of thousands of people calling them liars and harassing them off the internet for any reason they can find. It happens every single time. You guys should shut up and get a job and stop being obsessed losers. If your favorite content creator wants to be uncanceled, they should make a video and stop whining about their own actions catching up to them." Now, I do find it very sort of ironic that Nick is telling people to get a job when, I mean, he himself is a YouTuber, right? Like, imagine if I, as like a drama channel, was telling people to like stop caring about YouTube drama and get a job. I could not do that. I would look ridiculous. I would look insane if I did that. And I think that's it's silly for Nick to say this, obviously. And this is the thing he does a lot. He puts people down for like caring about issues that he also reports on. Like, what is even the point, Nick? He also did this during the initial videos against Super Mega. He was like, "I actually have a job. I have a real schedule. All they do is play Truck Simulator." It's like, bro, all you do is talk about things that other people do and pretend that you're like a real YouTuber, when in reality, you and I can't actually do anything that gets attention without talking about things that other people do. So, like, you shouldn't, as a commentary channel, be like putting yourself on like this much higher pedestal than like everyone else, because you're not there. You're not
that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
He also made a few statements calling Destiny and myself Reddit debate lords. Maybe really just Destiny, because I know he like hates that guy with a passion. He does not like Destiny whatsoever. When claims are questioned by streamers like Destiny and myself, Nick called us Redditors.
There's too many Reddit debate bro dorks on this website trying to come after me every single day.
But after my video came out on my main channel, we did actually see a response from Nick on his channel, Green is Not Nick, which for those who don't know is basically the main channel he uploads to for all of his drama content. Nick uploaded a video titled My Drama with Super Mega. At 20 minutes in length, it basically retreaded a lot of what he had said before, as well as featured him clarifying his intentions for what he wanted from this whole situation. One good thing he does admit is that Daniel Kyer never ever should have been mentioned in this entire thing. This guy just like never needed to be acknowledged at all and should have been left out of the equation. It's very silly to me that people like Nick or people like Lex or just literally anyone would try to criticize them for making jokes about their friend who passed away. Like, it's their friend. They can make jokes about it if they want to. Now, to be clear, Matt and Ryan both adamantly denied ever making jokes about their friend passing away. You can believe that. You cannot believe that. I don't know what's true. But regardless of if they did or not, I think it's completely within their right to make jokes about their friends passing if they want to. It's not, you know, your position to tell them that they can't do that. And it's not the audience's position either. None of you knew this guy. None of you knew Daniel. I didn't know Daniel. I can't tell them what to do.
But I just want to make it clear that Daniel should not have been mentioned in anyone's videos about the situation, including Lex.
The problem is, like, right after this, Nick tries to claim that the point of his video was to highlight the stories that had been told, not to give his own personal take on the situation.
Because it was a part of multiple stories that I was summarizing in my video, I, of course, decided to include it as valuable information, but the purpose of my video on Super Mega was to highlight the stories that were told, not give my own personal story on the situation. Bringing up Daniel was purely part of reporting that story. It was not a personal feeling that I had against Super Mega.
Whatever Nick's intentions were, the result of him uncritically repeating all of this information is that he did a lot of harm to Matt and Ryan's reputations, and by and large, he also did a lot of harm to Lex's initial story. Not that Lex didn't do that herself. He propagated false allegations because his personal friend was involved. I don't totally trust that Nick even understands his own intentions, but to be honest, intentions don't matter a ton to me here. What matters is the effect. In practice, Nick did not just report a survivor's story. He reported a bunch of other bullshit and personal details about Matt and Ryan, which never should have been mentioned in the first place. And if Nick had a problem with this stuff being brought up at the time, he could have said so. He could have said something about it, but he didn't. He didn't say anything about it because at the time he was totally cool with how the drama was going. He was cool with how people were reporting it, and he clearly was fine with, you know, propagating all these unsubstantiated rumors because his friend had supposedly been assaulted by someone, and then Matt and Ryan had supposedly covered it up. And so as a result, he was fine with just saying basically anything.
Matt responded saying, quote, "I would love to hang out again, but I'm going to be in a relationship with Zeph, so it would have to be just as friends." After the second night they hooked up, she mentioned that he stopped reaching out to her and any contact was made by her first, which he eventually stopped responding to altogether. Matt's friends started messaging her on Twitter saying that Matt was bragging about hooking up with her and saying that he's sleeping around. She ended the conversation about saying that she didn't want to ruin his life or end his career.
If you wanted to read this out, that's fine. Considering like you didn't leak this information in the first place, like in my videos, I will report unsubstantiated allegations constantly, but I'll always say, I don't know what happened. Like with the dream stuff, right? You can report something without giving a very heavy-handed stance on it. You can just say, I don't know. But that's not something Nick likes to do or did in this situation. He said, I know because I knew this person that was involved.
He mentioned how when you join Super Mega as an employee, there's a joke that gets told by Matt and Ryan that Chuck E. Cheese has a middle name and the punchline is the N-word. Seems like a funny joke. Let's just let it play a couple more times. One person said, "There's one last thing I want to share before leaving the sub. I did not care for Matt Watson's music career." I'm pretty sure this is a Family Guy reference, but it's still, you know, let's look at the comments. I always thought everyone was just pretending to like his music. As someone who paid to go to one of his shows, I agree. Thank you. I always got downvoted in the sub for calling his music trash. Obviously, none of this has an effect on how he treats people, but of course, if his art sucks, let's dunk on him. He sucks.
Now, as much as Nick wants to frame what he did here as neutral reporting, it was anything but right from the start.
It was never something that I suggested to Lex, but when she mentioned it, I decided to share her story because she's a friend of mine. I'm not trying to capitalize off of my friend's sexual assault. I never monetize videos like these, and I don't believe that these videos are posed as like great advertisements for my channel. I do not have a secret agenda to my videos. I own 100% of my channel, and I have 0 employees who affect my posts. Covering serious stories is not something I enjoy doing, and when Matt insinuates that I was just told by his ex merch designer to make this video about Super Mega, I can't help but feel like he's also trying to discredit other stories that I've told in the past.
Another thing Nick does in this video is attempt to dispel the conspiracy angle, which is not much of a conspiracy. It's just obvious that all these people talk to each other about this behind the scenes and decided to come out about everything around the same time. The conspiracy, quote unquote, is just the fact that people texted each other. It's iMessage. But Nick does his best to dispel this and be like, there's no grander conspiracy to take down Super Mega or whatever, which is kind of a deflection in the first place to even say this.
I have no agenda. I'm not a part of any organized attack to cancel YouTubers. I was not given permission to make this video. I wrote the script. I edited it. Now, just because this video is coming out around the same time as some other creators are talking about Super Mega, that does not mean there is a hidden agenda between people trying to ruin Super Mega's channel. This video being made is not an effort to refuel the fire. Originally, I just wanted to do the best to respect the wishes of the victim in this situation and be quiet about it to try to lessen the amount of harassment happening, because I knew that talking about it would just result in more harassment against Lex and claims that her sexual assault was a flawed story used to harm the Super Mega YouTube channel for clout and attention.
The agenda is not hidden. Lex feels disgruntled by Super Mega because of the Dawn situation, because I guess at some point in her mind, she changed, her mind from wanting the story to be private to wanting it to be public, and she expected that, people, without telling them, would just make it public for her, basically, right? So that's part of it. She's also upset that she was homeless because of her own actions, and she's projecting her own insecurity over that onto Matt and Ryan. Ethan and Nick, meanwhile, are friends, and Ethan and Lex are dating. Lex was friends with Leighton Stollard, who made some of the craziest claims about Super Mega, only to be brutally disproven, and she actually was totally supportive of him, only until he got a bunch of backlash, and then she, disowned Leighton without actually saying his name and refused to even name him publicly. And it seems like now everybody's just throwing Leighton under the bus, despite the fact that they were all good friends with this guy, and they believed him and supported him, from the beginning. They did.
Leighton also said that we repeatedly made him uncomfortable by exposing ourselves to him around the office. It's true that we did do a lot of crude jackass-style bits around the office, and that's apparent in our videos too. But if Leighton ever felt uncomfortable by any of that, he never showed it, and he never brought it up. I find it a little ironic that he complained about this, considering, for example, in December we were recording a podcast when he came in unannounced and showed us his cock and balls.
In late 20s, Chuck. Hey, Leighton.
Hey. Whoa.
Somebody's putting on
Do you see his balls?
Leighton, you want to come take a seat?
Do you see his balls? I don't think it's appropriate for the podcast. You want to wrap yourself in a towel.
That is a three-hander.
Leighton got owned so bad, it seems he just left the internet, actually, which is kind of funny. But this isn't some, Illuminati Jewish question tier thing. This is very blatantly easy to see. It's not a secret. All of you guys are friends. Right after your video came out, Lex and Ethan did a stream where they smoked weed and talked about how they were glad to see Super Mega's sub count decrease, and they had a live count on screen watching it go down. And then they told people to watch Nick's video because, in their own words, Nick's video was great. It's a great video. Watch it. It has everything we want.
Why are they being canceled? Because they covered up sexual assault. That is why. Nick did a great video about it. But it's okay, guys. They're going to release a video debunking everything.
Right, the smug attitude after how this has gone, man. So insane. Everything these people did prior to the apologies now looks so much worse in retrospect.
Instead of apologizing, which is cool. Yeah, I'm surprised how many people in the chat don't know. It's been trending all weekend. Their subreddit is turning on itself like Gus Johnson's did, so it's just eating itself alive. It's pretty funny.
So, I mean, they're all just friends. I do actually believe that Nick thought he was doing the right thing when he made his initial videos. I think he thought that he was supporting a victim, and that by making this kind of bullshit drama video, I think he thought he was doing the right thing. I genuinely do believe that. I don't think Nick is conniving in his basement being yeah, we're gonna destroy everyone. I think he thought he was doing the right thing, but it just doesn't really matter to me that much, People are rarely evil, though. Truly, I have found through my experiences, interacting with internet people are rarely evil. Don't chalk up something bad happening to malice when it can easily be described as stupidity, okay? This is a quote I'm stealing from somewhere. I don't know who said it, but it's real. Nick is dumb, he is ignorant, he's arrogant, he's misguided, but I don't think he's evil, and I don't think any of these people are, actually. Nick thought he was supporting a victim, but this conflict of interest that he had because he was her friend, as well as his view of how to cover stories like this, completely it all up.
After Ryan released this statement, I do believe that this talking point, among a few others, has now been used as a way to make wild claims against me and others, deflecting the multiple horrible actions that Super Mega has made in order to spread the conspiracy that I made a hit piece on Matt and Ryan for attention and clout. Even if it may have just been a few, I have seen multiple creators and artists on the internet publicly standing up for Super Mega and using the mention of Daniel to deny all of the accusations against Matt and Ryan.
Now, the thing I'm confused on is Nick keeps saying, like, there are horrible actions that Super Mega has taken part in. What are these horrible actions? I don't know what these actions are. What did they actually do to anyone? The only thing from the entire story that they royally sort of, messed up, as far as I can tell, is screwing up the dates so that Lex and Don were in the Super Mega office at the same time. Other than that, they respect the victim's wishes, which is what you're supposed to do. They eventually fired Don once they actually believed the claims were valid, which I guess you're also supposed to do for sure. And they didn't publicly tell a victim's story against her wishes.
I have seen creators who have firsthand experienced the backlash of telling a story as a victim online who are now backing up Super Mega as if they both didn't fully admit to covering up their friend and employee sexually assaulting another one of their friends. There is verifiable proof that after Super Mega finally let Don go, they didn't tell their fans the reasoning for firing him after weeks of questions about his disappearance from the channel. There is also evidence that Don asked people publicly about housing in Los Angeles and that Super Mega fans offered places for Don to stay under the impression that he was still on good terms with Super Mega and definitely under the impression that he was not a sex offender. There is evidence that Ryan was publicly liking Don's tweets weeks after he was let go for assaulting someone at Matt's house. Ryan has admitted to sexting fans he met online and has agreed that his actions are not worthy of the platform he has. It is embarrassing, the kind of people that have been standing publicly with Super Mega when it has been very clear that they are not above denouncing the hate that Lex is receiving because of things they said in their videos.
This one I'm not really sure about, as in, like, I don't know who this is in reference to specifically. Someone in the comment section perhaps is a little more knowledgeable. One of the Reddit debate bros out there. You guys can let me know what you guys think and who this may be about, because I genuinely just, like, I don't know. I don't know who this is about. I couldn't tell you.
Regardless of Layden's role in the story, Matt and Ryan will not stop anyone from claiming that everything that happened in Lex's story was a lie. Matt and Ryan are well aware of how their audience is responding to this. They see how dishonest the claims are about Lex, myself, and many others. They can say they care about lifting Lex's voices up, and they can say that they are sorry about what they did to her, but it has become very obvious that they do not care how their audience is responding to this. I invite people who are watching my video, who are fans of my channel, to read the comments and really think about how this should be handled. We are currently watching the repeat offense of thousands of people clawing for reasons to defend a YouTuber they like or a friend that they have in their life. And I am sure that many of you are still unsure about how you feel after reading the countless comments of people calling me a liar and claiming that I posted about this situation in malice towards Super Mega. And so I want to briefly touch on some major comments being made about me and give you my thoughts.
The thing is here, like, Matt and Ryan can't stop everyone. Are they supposed to argue with everyone in comment sections and be like, hey, you don't say that about Leighton. Don't say that about Rav and Lex. What claims about Lex and you are dishonest? Can you actually name anything specific? I don't think he did. Other than this conspiracy, which is, I mean, it's real. Especially with, like, the homelessness story, which was complete bullshit from all of you. Obviously, people are not gonna, want to believe Lex. Like, she's an unreliable narrator. And she showed that she has a lot of entitlement through and through. And you guys are basically demanding that Matt and Ryan, give her a place to stay for free. Realistically, you guys made a big mess for Super Mega. And now they're going to act in their best interest in terms of putting their side of the story out there and then trying to move on from the drama. There are probably false claims being made about people like Nick and Lex. There's a lot of stuff lost in translation in these situations, and audiences do get vicious, and they are being very vicious. But, I mean, Matt and Ryan can't spend all day refuting these claims and arguing with people they didn't even encourage about someone who royally tried to, like, screw their career over. Why would they do that? They have a business to run. They have people employed by them they need to help out. You're not entitled to a defense from them, and the idea that you are is very, very ridiculous.
There are a lot of people theorizing the secret reasons that I must have had to make this video in bad faith to cancel Super Mega, and I think a lot of them are very dumb arguments. One claim that I continue to see being made is that I capitalized on a Super for clout. Daniel was far from the main thing I talked about in my video and was not a major part of the story at all in any way. And if you watched any of the videos, you would agree with that. The claim that I am capitalizing on anything in these videos is also an argument that is very obviously being done in bad faith.
I think that to me, once again, these intentions just don't matter that much. What matters is how it was handled, and I think I've already outlined that how it was handled was pretty abysmal, pretty bad.
I cover stories on the internet 3 times a week as my job. I covered Super Mega's story in 2 different videos, neither of which were monetized or advertised on because I did not feel that was appropriate for me to profit on a story like this.
But of course, Nick knows that this is not a really genuine response. Money is not the only thing that we get out of situations as YouTubers. We get subscribers, we get regular viewers to watch our stuff. And as for Nick, he gets the clout of getting to act like a good person who uplifts victims and does the right thing and, you know, assault stories or whatever, right? And of course, you do make money from those viewers watching your other videos that are monetized through recommendations, right? So like this idea that just because you don't make money on one video, like you're not making money or profiting off the situation is ridiculous. You're profiting both indirectly from non-monetary gains and directly from monetary gains from people who watch that video and then subscribe to you. Like that is obviously the case. That's so clear. One good thing that Nick does say is that he regrets ever including Leighton in this video, or at least not challenging the claims that Leighton made.
I came to find out that Leighton was not a reputable source at all, and I covered that in my follow-up video about Super Mega. The claims Leighton made were not at all accurate, and I regret not denouncing them even more than I did in my previous video. I am sorry that I did not dispel more of what Leighton said specifically in his video about Super Mega, but I can now say that Leighton did nothing but hurt Lex's story, and I think if given the chance, Lex would say the same. Regardless of her personal feelings on Leighton, people comment, insult, and degrade these stories as though this means that everything reported is completely invalid. I know that people will continue to relentlessly claim otherwise, but I do not have any ulterior motive for my videos made on Super Mega.
Undoubtedly, Leighton Stollard was probably the least reliable narrator in this entire situation and never should have been seen as a reputable source in the first place. If his information was reported as allegations that could or could not be true, I wouldn't really care, but instead it was clear that all these people were pretty good friends with Leighton. Nick says he wasn't, but he's friends with people who were friends with him. Obviously, he has an incentive to try and like believe that guy more because he has mutuals with him, right? But instead, all this was reported as fact by Nick in an effort to add to the snowball of growing hatred against Super Mega and just kind of pile on the claims. And this was very deliberate. It's obvious that he did this. I'm glad he said that he regrets it, and I do hope he doesn't do stuff like this in the future. One thing I did not like at the end of his video was when Nick said he was like a victim of harassment as a result of all this going down. He sounds like a fucking crybaby. He sounds like a pussy in this clip.
Most of the attention that I've gotten on those videos has been from people harassing me after being sent to my channel by Ryan and by other YouTubers who are making 3-hour rants about why Lex's experience getting assaulted is a lie made up for attention. I am absolutely not a stranger to hate campaigns like this. I have dealt with months of hate following my coverage on stories like Sneeko or Gus Johnson.
I mean, the Tyler the Creator tweet is kind of real here. It kind of applies. What Nick means here is not being attacked in real life, by the way. Like, his business wasn't really hurt. I mean, by anyone other than himself anyway. He didn't get like harassed at his house or something. What he means is like YouTube comments and like Twitter, right? And Nick, I had to break it to you, but you're a commentary channel. Do you know how many people have watched your videos and then gone to, you know, the pages of the people you talk about and given them shit? The answer is a lot. Like, literally hundreds of thousands of comments, if not millions of comments, have been produced by your channel alone. And to be clear, that's fine. I don't care. It's like internet drama, blood sports talk. Who cares, dude? Who fucking cares? But you can't be a commentary tough guy and then complain that you got a lot of negative comments. You just can't be a crybaby about that. You created that culture in the first place. You threw your hat into the ring of internet discourse. People did not like what you had to say, so you got owned. You got owned.
You got destroyed.
It happens to the best of us. In my Pokemon video I did recently, I said I didn't really care about her cookies, and I had a lot of people dislike the video and comment about how I'm wrong. I got like 2 Instagram DMs. I got like 5 emails saying that I'm dumb. I didn't make a video crying about it. It's part of the game when you speak negatively about others, especially when your career is built off of shit talk. When you put yourself out into the public sphere as someone who's like part of this takes factory, there's gonna be people who disagree. Am I supposed to feel bad for you? Really?
Both situations where I was harassed endlessly for uplifting the voices of victims who were attacked just like this. It is a never failing pattern that every time a victim speaks up, their words are dissected and ripped apart by people who want to find any reason to believe that the creator they love is not deeply flawed. I personally do believe that there were a lot of missteps that were taken when speaking out about Matt and Ryan.
Well, how brave of you, Nick. You made a YouTube video. Good for you, buddy. I'm really proud. You did the right thing.
Who's a good boy? Who understands
assault? Like, what are you expecting here? You want a pat on the back? And the Understanding Women Award goes to NickIsNotGreen.
I think that Lex's video was long and that she spoke about her experience emotionally because of everything that happened to her and the way that her life seemingly fell apart after being sexually assaulted by a friend of hers. I don't think that she's in the wrong for that, regardless of the way that people use that as a way to discredit her story. I also believe that I could have done a better job in reporting this story. I was told by people close to me that these things happened with Matt and Ryan, and I would agree with my initial reaction claiming that they are horrible people. I believe looking back that this title was reactionary, and I disagree with using the specific language in my initial video, and I'm sorry for that. I do not think Matt and Ryan are defined by this experience, nor do I think they are incapable of learning from it and growing to be better examples for their audience. I still stand by my initial opinions on Matt and Ryan's responses, and I don't believe they should be praised or defended as if they are innocent at all in this situation. Matt Watson and Ryan McGee put their audience at risk and lied to the people who watched them because they knew it would negatively affect their image. If you do not agree with me on that, then I do not think that you should watch or consume my content. It is gross the way that people have claimed innocence for Matt and Ryan, and I hope all of you take a good look at the way everyone is reacting to this story before continuing to support the creators you watch and enjoy. None of this means that people should be attacking Lex and the people around her as if this was a proven, calculated attack to use Lex's assault as a way to cancel some YouTubers.
I mean, if you make a public statement and it includes falsehoods, like, obviously people will pick it apart. This is not like a baby fantasy where we all just like get along. When you get something wrong, people will talk about that and they'll take issue with it. And especially in a public forum with like making accusations against a YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers. If you lie or get something wrong, people are gonna fucking talk about it, dude. This is how the world at large works too, by the way. Nick is 24 years old. He's not a kid. He's an adult. He might be 25 by now. He's well into his 20s. Lex is, I believe, like 28. I mean, she may as well be 30 years old, okay? You could be a mom right now. You're all adults. Act like it. If you claim Matt and Ryan made you homeless and then they clearly did not, obviously it's going to be picked apart. Am I supposed to feel bad for these people for that? I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. The rest of the video mostly is Nick justifying the existence of all the videos and complaining that people went after him for all of this at all. This video was pretty negatively received, I'll say, and a lot of people had issues with how in some areas he doubled down. I'll give him credit where it's due. I mean, you know, there were a few points in there that I did like, and I talked about that, but this is not a good response in totality. I would give it like a 3.5 out of 10, probably. Not good. See, I'm like Anthony Fantano now, guys. I wear my influences on my sleeve. Wifey, I'm divorcio. My bad, Fantano. That sucks, dude. She cooks food for me now. Got your ex locked up like penal. Meow. So the last apology did not go that well. So Nick made another statement. It was placed at the beginning of another video which was like unrelated, but he just kind of tacked it on there. And when he made this response, he unlisted the other one that I just showed you. So keep in mind, the last one is now gone in the timeline. We've got this new one though, okay? New Reddit gold.
Just hear me out. I've been thinking a lot about my role in the controversy that I made a video about on Friday. Even though I know that there are disputes about Lex's story that she is planning on fully addressing this week, from my knowledge, I want to address this issue completely separate from her and talk about how I inappropriately handled reporting on a story that I should not have reported on. I'm realizing pretty late that I was too close to the story, and regardless on my personal feelings for the situation, it was irresponsible for me to involve myself and my platform into a conflict that really had nothing to do with me.
See, this is what he actually needed to say from the start. I agree. He should not have gotten involved in this whole thing. It was unwise to dip his toes in, and if he did, it should have been completely like impartial, neutral reporting. He calls himself a Zoomer drama journalist, and if you want to do journalism right, you have to be really careful with what you report on. You don't have to cover every story. You don't have to cover stories you're too emotionally invested in that may affect your coverage. So this was like a good thing to say off the bat. I think he did a good job with acknowledging that. Better late than never, I'll say that.
And also, just because I didn't intentionally lie or make things up, just because I can continue saying that I went into this situation in good faith, I am not free from the criticism of how I actually am making and reporting on those videos. Yes, I went into the story with my best intention to spread the word on a victim's story. Yes, I still can say now that there was no foul play behind the scenes involved. I just did what I thought was best. Either way, regardless of what you believe about that, my addition to the story was destructive and it hurt everyone involved.
It seems to me like he did some serious reflecting overall, and this was a much better statement than what he said before. He did have to fight back a little bit, of course, because why wouldn't he?
Although I think so many people who are on the opposing side have not helped the argument and have made themselves aggressively wrong in a lot of situations, I thought about this and how I honestly and truly feel about it without the anger or defensiveness from so many people attacking me on all sides.
But he still says he plans to cover these stories very differently in the future, which was nice to see. Brought a warm feeling in my tummy. Made me feel happy to be alive, perhaps.
And through thinking about this situation, I realized that there is so much that I could have done better. I should not be involved or be a part of this story, and I should not have agreed to cover it when Ethan and Lex approached me with the idea. And now I do still want to say that even with them asking me, I don't think they had intentions to lie or to put my career in a bad spot. I was still irresponsible by accepting it. Lex's video is already big enough on its own. When I started to make mine, it had already caught the attention of the people who it needed to catch the attention of. There was no reason for me to be a part of this at all.
Despite this statement being better than the last, we still got a follow-up on Instagram, which is where the real Nick is, I guess, where he called everyone bigoted freaks. Despite the bigoted freaks that will continue to lead the hate campaign against what I do, I still feel the need to speak to those who are actually fans of what I do because they do not deserve the mess I've gotten myself into. Stuff like this really sort of twists the knife a little bit, where you think maybe a real apology is coming, but then Nick just seems to be caught up on the facts that, like, I don't even know what he's caught up on, to be honest. Like, can he just not accept that the people criticizing him are like real people? So much like Hassan, he has to like dehumanize them. I mean, he's friends with Hassan, so I guess, you know, maybe they're on that same wavelength. Shout out communism swag.
Respect.
Yes, the workers. I'm just kidding. We're gonna make them all way more poor. But stuff like this really twists the knife. I guess maybe he's mad at Destiny because Destiny says gamer words.
At Destiny, you said Nick like 1 month ago. I would never even utter that disgusting word. I would never, ever, in any circumstance, would I ever say that. So that is not true.
Nick, are these bigoted freaks in the room with us right now? So finally, after all of that, we do have one final apology from Nick. This one was released on Twitter. It's got the classic like black background, white text, but I think that's just because it's on his community tab, but it feels like everybody who makes a statement ever has this kind of thing. He says, "Hi everyone, there have been a lot of people still asking me about where I stand on the Super Mega situation after I deleted my initial statement. I followed that video up at the intro of a video from 3 weeks ago, but a lot of people didn't see it, and I want to further clarify how I feel after taking some time to reflect on it." All right, he's going to reflect. I'm excited. I initially responded with anger when concerns were raised about my coverage of the story because I believe that these criticisms were coming in bad faith from audiences of creators that have harassed me in the past. Does he mean Destiny? That must be it. He must just not like Destiny. That's the audience, because I've never talked about Nick before this. After reading messages from people in my community who have legitimate and valid concerns about my stance on the situation, I now realize that there are a lot of real criticisms about the videos I made that are sincere and point out where I seriously mishandled my coverage in reaction to that story. My responses minimized and discredited a lot of my viewers' concerns, and I was immature with how I reacted. Given the seriousness of these topics, I should have taken much more care with the titles, the content, and even the way I edited these videos. I regret the eagerness I had to insult Matt and Ryan in the story in ways that were unnecessary and careless, and included details about them that were unrelated to Lex's assault. I mean, the thing about that, once again, is like, he should be criticized for that, but also like Lex did the same thing, and so did Ethan. They all were a part of this, so a lot of focus is being on Nick right now. That's fair. I'm not saying you should harass anyone, to be clear. Harassment's bad, okay? Harassment's bad. But like, there's a lot of involvement from other people, and Lex is the first person to talk about Daniel Kyer as well. She's the person who did that, you know? Regardless of whether or not these details were talked about in Lex's video, I should have been much more careful about the way I presented them, and I'm sorry about that. I was trying to help a friend, but I was stubborn and emotional instead of taking the proper time to hear how I could have done better from people who were rightfully concerned. I wrongfully gave more value to the opinions of those who agreed with me over those who were holding me accountable for valid reasons, and that's something I deeply regret. I should have supported the victim without getting directly involved. True. But instead, by choosing to cover a sensitive story that involved people that I was close to, the outcome of my actions hurt all the parties involved. I regret the way I approached reporting on such a serious topic, and I apologize to any victims of SA that I've disappointed. I also want to apologize to those who support me and watch my content for how this has been handled. This experience has opened my eyes to what my priorities are as a creator, and I'm dedicated to thinking more deeply about how I use my platform and the way I communicate with my audience. I have a lot of growth that needs to be done as a content creator and a person. Lastly, I want to apologize for how this has affected those who are not involved at all in this situation, but have associated with me and made content with me. I guess he's talking about like people who have collabed with him, like Jarvis Johnson or whatever, Curtis Connor. You guys know that whole like crowd of commentary guys. You know what I'm talking about, okay? We call them the soy boy commentary because we're alpha and we kick their teeth in Minecraft. I feel awful that my actions have caused people to stop supporting people who have nothing to do with this, solely because they're my friends or loved ones. Please don't let how I handle this situation reflect those who are in my personal life. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say that like this statement made me like Nick, and I assume this is not the case for anyone else. But if this is like a genuine statement from him, I don't know. I mean, I want to believe that it's genuine. I want to believe he's not lying. You know, I hope that this is real. I hope that this has caused like some serious character growth for him. We all have those moments in life where, you know, we fuck up. I think he did have the right intention from the start, or at least he thought he did. And I think that it's important to support survivors or whatever. But I think at the same time, he got really lost in the sauce. This sort of like might makes right type thing, and like the ends justify the means as far as like lying about people or misconstruing facts in the name of like helping a victim is like a really bad mentality to have. And I think that if he genuinely changes as a person and he doesn't cover stories like this, then I don't really care if people watch his stuff. Like, I'm not gonna go and be like, you can't watch Nick is Not Green. Like, I don't care. If he genuinely doesn't do this again, then I see no reason you can't watch his like dumb TikTok reaction videos. Like, it's whatever. Who cares, right? Now, obviously, if you're his viewer, which I would never was, and like this situation has made you so disgusted with him that you'll never watch him again, like I'm not gonna argue with you. You know, that's your thing. But yeah, I mean, I hope this is like a genuine apology, and I hope Nick genuinely changes as a person and does not do this again. That would be really nice to see. You know, it would. I'm trying to be less hateful recently. Okay, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. So with that in mind, there's been a few other little rumblings going on. Supposedly Lex is gonna respond soon, like I said. Another thing that someone noticed on Twitter is there's this tweet from this guy called Useless Icarus, who is a member of Destiny's community, and he said, "Lamau God, it brings me so much joy watching this little rat get screwed over." And here we have a post from the Super Mega subreddit. It says, Ethan and Lex have both unfollowed Nick, and Ethan has removed Nick from his friends of the channel tab. Trouble in paradise? And so a lot of people are speculating that maybe there's been some falling out with them. I mean, this could not be the case. Maybe they're baiting people. Maybe they just don't want to do public stuff anymore because it's been giving, you know, Ethan and Lex shit. Maybe they don't like how Nick responded. I do not know. You do not know, so we can't assume too much. But if this is some sort of falling out among friends, then I wouldn't be totally surprised if Lex and Ethan come out and just toss Nick under a big bus a little bit, under like a Mack truck. I wouldn't be totally shocked about that, to be honest. But that remains to be seen. I'm gonna avoid making another video about this for a little bit. I might not make another one at all. I think that the first video I made really summed up everything. I don't think there's anything that could be said that would really change my view on what I thought in that video. I mean, it was full of receipts. It's 2.5 hours long. So if you haven't seen that video and you're interested in the situation, I recommend watching that. It's finally making me some money, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I mean, realistically, I hope that at the end of the day, I hope that this genuinely is a learning experience for everyone involved. I hope that Lex, Ethan, Nick, Rav, Morgpie, who maybe I'll talk about in my follow-up video if I do that, because she's been a little wacky. I think all these people, well, Leighton, although Leighton might be beyond saving, but you know what? In the eyes of God, anyone can be saved, okay? And I am God, so I genuinely hope all these guys change as people. I hope they change their content and the way they report things, and I hope that in the future, something like this doesn't happen again. I know something like this will happen again, probably not from these guys, considering the backlash they got. False allegations and sort of mishandling this stuff has been going on since I started, you know, as a YouTuber. And it will probably continue to happen. Regardless, I hope everyone changes for the better. I hope that we see some serious character growth for all these guys. And yeah, I've had fun covering it. Hope you guys had fun watching me cover it. If you guys like this video, be sure to leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike. Drop a comment down below with your thoughts on everything. And I will see you all in the next gamer video. Stay keck. Wait, what did Ronald Riz say? Stay crypto, stay edgy, and stay awesome. Bye. Until tomorrow. Bye. And be sure to become a member. For $5 a month, they get the members only podcasts and exclusive videos that only members get. Thanks so much for your support.